Morning, guys, or afternoon, or evening, depends whenever you're watching us here. So now we're sort of getting into the crux of training here, where the miles are starting to ramp up, and we're probably moving beyond miles or mileage that any of us have ever done before. So once we sort of reach that 90 minutes plus, we should really starting to be thinking about nailing down our nutrition and our hydration. And the only way this will really work for you is trial and error, working through different things. What will work for me won't work for you, and what'll work for Stephen won't work for Matthew, and so on and so forth. Okay. But what I wanted to do today was just do a wee video, just to give you some hints and tips to keep you sort of steer you in the right direction. If you do have any questions at all regarding any part of your training, running, recovery, whatever, just always drop me a wee message or pop it into the group, and one of us will hopefully be able to answer you. So nutrition and hydration, 5Ks, 10Ks. You tend to not really need much, yeah, as long as you're well fed from the day before, well hydrated from the day before as well. Um, uh, you could possibly take a small amount of water in just before your training or your race for that there. Once you're sort of hitting the sort of half marathon mark, um, depending on how quick you're going forward, what effort you're running at as well, you should possibly be looking at some hydration, water as well as your salts too. So sports drinks, they're designed for sports. They contain electrolytes, they contain sugars, salts. Whenever I say salts, what I don't mean is just the sort of sodiums, but you've got your sodiums, your potassiums, and your magnesiums, which are all very important for maintaining. I think it's homeostasis. I probably just made that word up, okay, but it's maintaining the balance. Whenever the cells are working hard and they're burning up the sugar stores, the energy stores, they need to get energy back into them, and the salts help do that there as well. Okay, we absorb approximately 200 calories over the course of an hour whenever we're working hard. Okay, so whenever you're running at marathon pace, you should be able to absorb about 200 calories per hour. Now, it is different for each person, okay, but that's sort of like a guideline with regards to that there. If you take on too much, the likelihood is it'll make you feel uncomfortable, it'll make you feel bloated, it can also cause other gastro issues, which we all know what they are. So you're sort of trying to limit your calorie intake to about 200 calories, and that can be from your liquid calories as well as your food-based, sugar-based, whatever it is. And we'll talk a wee bit more about that there as we go further forward. Okay. Um, on the other side of that, there we are burning approximately 500 calories an hour. And again, that's at a steady sort of marathon pace. Some of us will be burning more than others. It depends on our metabolism, our body shape, size, everything like that there. But it's a rough idea, and you can adapt this to your own need. And again, it's that trial and error. Okay, so you're burning about 500, you're taking about 200 in, you're going to be in a calorie deficit. So we're going to be training and getting used to that there. We're going to get used to that feeling of tiredness and fatigue. I think one of the group members mentioned earlier with regards to feeling very tired, very lethargic towards the end of their longer runs, especially if they're doing the sort of faster efforts the day before. And that's because their glycogen, their sugar stores and salts are imbalanced, so they're all off. So the body's working hard and not getting the fuel that it needs to keep going for the longer stuff. So we do really need to be taking it on whenever we're up in those miles. Okay. My fueling strategy. This has came after 6, 7 years of running, 49 marathons, a few ultras in there as well. I can go on nothing for a 5K, 10K, half marathon, even running a half marathon at just say about 750 pace. I can still get by without water or fuel at all. Um, I do feel it for the rest of the day though, and I would very much struggle to go out and run the next day. But for me, that works. I feel good at that there. I feel light, I feel lean, and that's a big thing for me. I don't like that sort of bloated feeling. As soon as I go over the 13-mile mark, that's whenever I know I need to be taking on water and fuel. I do start my water and fuel intake a wee bit earlier whenever it comes to the longer runs then. So although I'm saying I can run 13 miles without it, at that stage, I'm on the cusp of just needing it. So it is really important to bring your water and your fueling on before you're feeling that there, because if you're feeling thirsty or feeling hungry, it's too late. The body's craving that there at that stage, and it's too late to start topping it up. So you need to give sort of nip it in the bud beforehand. I start sort of drinking water, wee sips of water from about 10k. I use the wee tiny bottles from Tesco's. I've got one over here. I'll show you. Hang on a wee sec. So these wee tiny 200 or 330 ml bottles, absolutely fantastic. They fit in my hand perfectly. They're easy to carry. They're not heavy, and they hold just enough water for me. Whenever I'm doing a longer run, I'll maybe take two of them. But yeah, that's what I use. Some people use different flasks, different things like that there. So yeah, start taking the water on from about 10k, taking little sips, and it's just topping it up, not taking big gulps of it, not sort of getting that bloated feeling or starting to feel heavy with regards to it. For fueling strategy, I use Tailwind. So Tailwind's like a powder that you get, and whenever I sort of have it in my wee bottle. So I'll have one bottle with Tailwind in it, one bottle with plain water. It recommends 2 scoops of Tailwind to 750 mils of water, but for me, I tend to put about 6 scoops into that one tiny wee bottle, make it really concentrated. It's easier for me to carry, and I don't need to take on as much water as maybe other people do. So it just makes it a lot easier for me. But yeah, Tailwind is it's ideal. It's soft on my stomach, doesn't cause any gastro issues, and it gets me that 200 calories in per hour. Other things that I've tried in the past, gels don't really work for me. They sort of run through me. They make me feel sort of sick. They're very sweet. Um, Not to say I don't take them. There are times where I'm 23 miles deep into the marathon and I'm just craving that extra wee bit of a hit. I'm going to take it. I'm going to get it in through there. Whenever I'm running sort of longer, slower miles and I've got a bit more time, wee energy bars, the likes of Frosty bars. Cheap and cheerful. They contain the exact same things as your fancy high-end bars. So they've got the sugar, they've got a wee bit of carbs, they've got a wee bit of protein in it, and then they're palatable, which is key for me. I enjoy eating them. I've tried the sort of sweets, jelly beans, jelly babies, etc., things like that. There, quite good, but just have sugar. They don't actually have any of the salts in it as well. So no point in bringing in just the sugars if you're sweating and you're losing a lot of salts and imbalancing that there too. So it's getting the mixture right and trial and error and working out what works for you. If you are training and you don't like carrying bottles of water with you, go out the hour beforehand and just drop your water off at a stop that you know where it's going to be, where you know it's going to be safe. Tie it up in a plastic bag, tie it up in something that's, sealed so that it's not open, so you know it hasn't been tampered with. I'm a big fan of running loops, so if I've got a big long run to do, I might do a 3k or 3 mile loop and just keep going round and round it. Because my water's always going to be there for me. I've got regular stops, trying to sort of practice the marathon. Uh, what's the word I'm looking for? The water stops within the marathon, so they come at you pretty much every 3 to 4 miles. So get used to getting water on at that stage every 3 to 4 miles. So yeah, in a sort of summary, because I wanted to try and keep this video under 10 minutes, and we're getting too close to that there, it is trial and error. What works for you is you're going to find it, but the key thing is making sure that you're getting enough calories in, that you're not burning out, that you're also taking on salts so that you replenish any salts that are being expelled through sweating, So the likes of Tailwind does that there, but then also you've got your salt sticks, or there's simple things like Powerade or Lucozade Sport, and they all contain those types of things as well. Okay, so all being well, that answers the question around fuel and nutrition. Oh, I was telling you, I'll actually have to go on here. I was telling you about the rest of my fueling strategy, and I went off on a wee tangent whenever I got the wee bottle. Okay, so my fueling strategy for a marathon, say from about 10K, I start taking water on. Then whenever I hit sort of 10 mile mark, that's whenever I'm starting to fuel. So I'll start drinking the Tailwind there. My wee bottle, as I said, usually has about 6 scoops in it, which is enough for 3 hours worth of running for me. So I'm diluting that down. So I'm drinking about a third of it. Within that sort of next hour, then the next third, then the next third. I also use caffeine. Not everybody has got a good tolerance for caffeine, but I would take a caffeine tablet at about mile, or a caffeine, or like a wee Revi strip. Now I don't even use the tablets. Wee Revi strip, which has got the caffeine in it, and I take that at approximately mile 13, 14, and then take another one at mile 20. Okay, so yeah, that's what works for me. It'd be interesting to hear how you guys get on over the next couple of weeks, just as the miles are increasing, the distance is increasing, the time out in your feet is increasing, as well as the weather getting a little bit warmer as well, where we're going to be sweating a wee bit more too. Okay, so any questions at all? Ask away, guys. That's what I'm here for. Everybody's doing absolutely amazing. It's great to see. We're all having a wee bit of a wobble now and again, but it's brilliant to see the group pulling together, and helping each other. Okay. So yeah, fab, fab, fab. Have a great week, guys. See you all soon. Bye bye.